you go.
So, Andrea, we had a problem with my internet connection for the show whenever Greg is talking. So he is vowed.
See, watch, I cut her out. See, I can mute Andrea, or I mean Samantha.
As usual, the clowns are back for this month. I have to. Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to Ham Talk. As usual, we're going to try and entertain you a little bit this month. But first, we would like to thank once again our sponsors, the Hamsters Week Signal Group, because without them, trust me, none of this would be happening. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Vote below. So let me introduce myself, and then the rest of the crew can chime in, because some of you may be new here. We're not sure how that happened, but welcome and thank you so much. I'm KE0LMY, Sam Henley. This is Miss Melissa.
Hi, Melissa, KI5ICQ.
Miss Andrea.
Hello, Andrea, Kilo 2, Echo Zulu with Scamper here today.
I still think that cat should be called CQ.
Greg. Go ahead, Greg.
Greg and 5XO coming at you live from Echo Lima 09UM. Okay.
It won't be live by the time it gets up there, Greg.
Oh. Dang. All right. Coming at you not live.
All right, guys. So we've got a really cool show for you this month. I can say that I did manage to film the continuation of my special event operations. I can tell you that Greg is doing grounding segments this month, and Melissa has the best part of the entire show because she's finally going to get to go and visit a real ham shack, because I don't count any of ours. Is with Mike, AB5A, and she's going to have video for us and everything. But in the meantime, we've had some interesting developments. Greg got so tired of being retired that he has rejoined the world of the working man. Huh, Greg?
Yeah, and now I'm just tired.
That didn't take long.
Melissa, what have you been up to?
Not a darn thing. No, it is so sweltering hot and dry in South Texas that it's all I can do just to get out for a couple of hours each morning, and then for the rest of the day I'm inside. So I've just been doing drywall and some just repair, wall patching and stuff, doing some inside work.
Falls down. And Andrea, what have you been up to, hon?
Well, I've snuck up to New Jersey for a couple weeks for the holiday and for my birthday. I got a new car, but it's not replacing Rover. People assume that, Rover's been my only operating car for 2 years now. And so I have been avoiding the heat. And of course, little Scamper here, big day for him. He lost one of his teeth, one of his baby teeth, one of his fangs, and I've got it so I can give it to the tooth fairy. And it's real funny when he tries to gnaw on my finger now. It's like, yeah, there's only one fang biting it now.
So you only get half bit?
Yes.
And okay, fine, Greg. What have you been up to other than going back to work?
That pretty much consumed my entire life. So I'll get back with you on there. Actually, in between working about 10, 12 hours a day right now, redoing things, been hanging out at the ranch, working out there. And for some reason, everything I got to do on the house is outdoors. We're installing the new solar air conditioners and installing 8 large solar panels for said back bedroom air conditioner. And guess where you got to install the solar panels? On a hot tin roof in 108-degree temperature. Let's just say there are parts of me that are suntanned that shouldn't be. And we'll leave it at that.
Yes.
How long have you lived in Texas, Greg?
Long time.
Yes,
you
almost
it's
my
been a
whole
long
life.
time.
You haven't figured out that it's the winter time that you work on outdoor projects in Texas?
Yes, but unfortunately, I want to live up there someday.
Gotta get it
And
done.
I need air conditioning in order to do that. And we've got 3 mini split solar powered air conditioners that are going in the entire cabin because we're 100% off grid. Our water comes from rain capture. We've got almost 20,000 gallons of storage, which in this drought's a good thing. We've got solar. The whole house is solar powered, and then independent solar systems run 3 mini split air conditioning systems. And I'm doing the bedroom one now. So,
Cool.
and what stinks is with the gas prices being what they are, I'm running a generator to run the current window air conditioner in the bedroom so we can sleep at night. And it's cost me an average of $40 a night to cool my bedroom.
Wow.
So there's some
Yeah.
motivation to get that mini split in there.
Oh yeah. And so that's why in 108-degree heat, I'm putting an air conditioner in. Because I don't know
Well,
about
so-
you, but the gas is starting to break my budget.
So that solar power air conditioning is going to help real well at nighttime?
Yeah, it's battery powered at that time.
Yep.
It charges the batteries during the day. It runs the air conditioner, and at night it runs off the batteries. We've already got 2 units installed, one in the living room and one in the main hall. And I'll give you an example. I was by myself Saturday night and Sunday. Ruth came back home after we hauled some stuff up there, and we kept the cabin at 70. I kept it at 73 degrees, and it was 99 outside. So it did a wonderful job. I was happy. I took a cold shower after I came in off the roof, and then sat in there with a wet, damp body and enjoyed that cold 73 degrees. And I watched television, and that was my evening.
And how much of that are you going to cut out in editing?
Absolutely none.
And you
I
wonder
have
why
found-
you did the time of the show down.
I find my editing goes much faster if I don't edit.
I
All
wanna
right,
just
well, I'll just go. We are doing grounding on my end this week. We're going to cover the topic of station grounding, some do's and don'ts, and what I personally do at my station here.
nice. And Melissa, with your interview with Mike, AB5A, was it very detailed?
Well, I would say it was my first on-site newscaster type interview, in-person tour. So bear with us.
There
Don't
might
know what it's gonna look like, but Mike was fantastic. He was very, very welcoming, very nice man. And I would imagine, I think, well, because Greg started a new job, I figured Greg would get with him at a later point because you guys were talking about, doing some more stuff together. and making your contacts and, the contact with Ruth and the emergency services and things like that. So he is a fantastic asset for that area of Texas, around the Austin, Bernie, that Central Texas area. He has an incredible setup, absolutely incredible. So yeah, it was very interesting. He was very, very gracious for letting us come in and invade all his space there.
Well, I have to say that since our last filming, I get to brag a little bit on not only amateur radio operators here in Missouri, but also particularly on my son, KE0YGT, because we just did Aquapalooza 2022 down here at the Lake of the Ozarks, and we had some radio issues with the primary radios. And guess who swung in and saved the day because he programmed every single one of his new UV82s, I think they are, UV82, with all of our frequencies. So all of a sudden we had a ton of radios that we could hand out to first responders, volunteers, everybody. So Alex, you did good, kiddo, and you brought a really positive light to ham radio at the Lake of the Ozarks. So good job.
That's cool.
Hey, especially when he's really young. I mean, he's 17 and he's already working on wanting to get serious about providing emergency communications. Yeah.
That's good. I mean, both of your kids are pretty active. I sit there and see the pictures floating by all the time of all the different activities that you guys are involved in, and it's amazing. So kudos to all of you.
We like to see a lot of the younger generation get in here. We don't want video to go the way of the dinosaur. Speaking of which, great segue. Greg's dinosaur is back this month, everyone. Yay!
Fred.
I was going to say, I think we landed on Fred. I think Greg might have won that argument.
I'll take him away.
The continuation of the special events for my segment is a lot of information on having fun with the events, because we tend to forget that it turns into quite the job for us, and also some things that have gone really wrong. Everybody likes to hear the what went really wrong stories. So we've got a really good show all between those three, and we hope Andrea will be back next month with a segment.
I plan on it.
Greg didn't want to put any pressure on you for this month, so he was like, I'm sure Andrea will have something for us next month. I want to see it's the Scamper. What's his name?
Scamper.
Yeah. I want to see Scamper in some headphones.
I still think
haven't
it should be named you.
I haven't figured out if Scamper is going to come with me back to Texas or not. So it may be hard.
Well, who would take care of him while you were gone?
Oh, well, he'd stay up here with Jake with the other cat.
Okay.
He's an independent cat. They babysit themselves.
Okay.
Scamper's quite the cat since he adopted me and followed me home, back in May, I guess. Yeah. So he's getting big quick.
They don't stay little and cute, do they?
I have to say, in his case, he's calming down, which is quite a relief, because he was not like all my other cats that when they're that small, they just want to climb on you and cuddle with you. No, he just wanted to run around and jump on things and bite things and whatever. And so he's been crazy. Now he's calming down. He'll snuggle a little bit.
Good.
So.
All right.
Real quick, we've got a nice little segment that we're going to do next week. We are doing a goal. Me and a couple friends are working on a project to be able to work the New England states from here on 2 meters. We're building a 70 element rope Yagi that will be stretched about 45 feet in the air from poles to poles, and using some support from trees too, up at the ranch on 2,000-foot hill. So it's going to be an interesting thing. We'll have to operate portable because in order to be up on top, my coax would eat every bit of that gain. But we've got it. We're aiming it for the New England states, and our goal is to work all the New England states on 2 meters sideband. We'll see what happens. We may fail miserably.
How long is this Yagi going to be?
Roughly, it's about 65 feet.
Okay. So on your existing 2 meter Yagis, how long are they?
About 30 feet.
30 feet. So you're going double that, and how much gain?
I'm sorry. No, it's almost 200 feet. I'm sorry. I'm sitting here thinking something. It's 70 elements, and it's like 152 feet long.
Okay, so I'm just doing a rough gain calculation, which is going to be length based because elements are less important than length.
Right.
So your standard 2 meter Yagi at 30 feet, how much gain?
That one's probably, I think, like right at 15 dB.
Okay, so you're going to be 18 at 65, 21, about 22 to 23 dB, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
That's
well,
what you expect.
the thing that I saw where we got the idea from the project and was built for a attempt to work across the ocean to Europe on 2 meters, they were advertising 34 dB gain with their antenna. Now, I've got to look and see exactly what their size and number of elements and stuff were. It's just something we're going to play with. It, like I said, this may fail miserably, but it's kind of fun stretching these ropes out, putting elements in. I've got a lot of cable ties that we're going through, getting the measurements and putting it out there, and then stretching the whole thing without breaking it. So,
well, that rope will make a nice arc. It'll be like kind of ski ramp for your RF to shoot it out.
Yeah, that's what we're going for. It's that launching the ramp. But anyway, we'll be talking about that in future episodes on how it worked, the construction, and everything. We've been making a lot of videos as we're building this thing, so it'll be interesting to say the least. The fun part will be getting somebody to record us while we are putting it up.
Won't record you?
No, they'll record us. I just don't know that I want them to record us. So we'll see. But anyway, that's our goofy project for the summer.
Can you hover your?
There's just no other reason to go out in 108-degree temperature, right?
Right. Can you hover your drone for a certain amount of time?
Yeah, it's got about 20 minutes of flight time and video. So, all right, well, let's get started with our segments or we're going to be out of time.
We're out of time.
All right, what order are we doing them in?
So, ladies first. Let Melissa go today.
Yeah, let's just start my video.
All right, here we go.
I'm here with Mike, and Mike, I have a few questions for you, and I have some notes. I'm going to try not to refer to them, but because just to help remind me of some of my questions. So, of course, the first question is how long have you been a ham?
Well, I was licensed at the age of 12 in 1989, so it's been a while. That's a lot of years, 30 plus years, yeah. So I started as a kid, interested in what the Morse code meant on the little walkie-talkies, and we went from there. So
Excellent.
I've always been fascinated with radio.
So you do a lot of Morse code?
Morse code is my favorite mode.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's great. I've always had an interest in that, but I haven't, dove into it yet. How long have you been contesting? When did you
Well,
when did you get into contesting?
I went to, well, as a kid I contested. My father's also a ham, and so we would do contests. And then when I went to college, I went here to Southwest Texas, now Texas State, and was able to contest with Jim N3BB, who is up in the Dripping Springs area. And that really, his station was for me something that gave me ideas at a young age of what I wanted to be when I grew up as a ham operator. So and other stations along the way. So, but I've always had an interest in DXing and contesting, and so here I am today, still in the process of building my station, but having a lot of fun.
Well, it looks to me, it looks to all of us by pulling up here, you got a pretty darn good start.
Yes, I started probably 10 years or so ago. I started collecting pieces for my station.
Yeah.
I would find tower and aluminum and things like that. And my friend Hector XE2K helped me build the station, and a lot of the antennas he built. A skill set I don't necessarily have, but it's been fun to learn a lot of those things as I went along.
Yeah.
You know,
And on the contesting, have you always done like the HF, VHF, UHF, or was it something where you did the HF?
I started with the HF, and I still enjoy the HF, and I actually enjoy radio contesting. When I was a kid, my father and I would radio contest. You were asking me
About the HF, VHF, UHF, and if you did the HF, for a
Yes.
while prior.
Yeah, so I started doing the radio contesting with my father as a kid, and of course we did phone and CW contests. And then in my college years, I mainly did CW contesting, and then around, I guess, 2013, 2012, I started doing some VHF contesting. It was really the first opportunity I had to do that. And I did that for a few years, and then we moved. So we just moved basically across the neighborhood, but I had to take my VHF station down, and it was down for, I guess, 3 or 4 years before I could get everything back up, the VHF stuff. So last year was the first year I was back in the June VHF contest, and just a lot of things learned about this particular station, lots of corrections made. And so this year, building on that, was getting all the bugs out of the station, finding more bugs this year, of course. So.
Yeah. Well, what kind of bugs?
Oh,
You're talking
yeah,
about.
well, I mean, it's a much more complex station than I had at my prior location. There's more antenna options, which in contesting, I don't care what frequency you're contesting on, the more ears you have, the better you are. You want the different angles of reception. And that's true in VHF. So, figuring out how each antenna works, sometimes in combination how the antennas work, and how they don't work. For example, I have a stack of 2 5-element 6-meter beams. That was really the first time I'd used them, and I didn't find them as useful as my 7-element stack or my single 7-element. So maybe I can do something more effective with that space. So those are the kind of, now I need to use the station a little more to come to those conclusions, but those are the things you try to work through as you build the station. Are the pieces you have, are they what you need?
Yeah. Is there, and because I don't really know too much about it, is there much difference between the HF and the VHF, UHF in contesting? Is there much?
Yes, to me, and maybe this is where, some comments of other hands might, to me, if you really, really do love contesting and you're really devoted, a VHF contest will prove that. There can be long stretches of no contacts, and I think a lot of guys get bored with that. The HF contest is usually more a steady flow, And that's fine. Everybody has their own thing. But for me, the VHF contest, part of the excitement is having those long spells of, you know, why am I, you know, when am I going to make my next contact? And then out of the blue, there's an
Bingo.
opening. And to be honest, those openings are what make the difference in a winner and a loser, because
Yeah.
you can always look at the spots and say, oh, the band's open, let me jump on there, and you work that opening. But it's the 5, 10, 15-minute openings to that location of the country where you're not going to get to the station in time. You have to be there, you have to be ready. And that's what excites me about, you know, the VHF contest. So,
That's neat. That's
Yeah.
neat. My next question was, which do you prefer? Do you prefer HF or VHF, UHF? Is there a preference as to?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. I enjoy all contesting. They each have their own, you know, flavor. I would be hard pressed to say that I like the HF contesting more than the VHF. I do find the VHF a little more exhilarating, but at times it's also more boring. So, but that's what makes it at times more exhilarating. So it's just my personal,
Right.
you know, taste. But I do love the HF contesting as well. You know, to be able to sit in something like the All Asian DX contest and just talk to Asians, make contacts all night. You know, that's exciting too. So they all have their own thing.
Is there anything else that you'd want to talk about?
You know, mainly the VHF contest I do by myself, and it's largely because you got to be somebody that likes sitting in front of a radio with a lot of static, you know, at times. And I think most contesters would rather do the HF contest, and that makes sense to me too. So there's some guys locally that help me with, you know, radio contests. We're looking into doing phone and CW contests as well. And again, the station's kind of evolving. You know, I've had the station up for about 5 years, but the VHF has only been a few years. The HF we're a little further along, but even the HF side is changing as you kind of learn how the station actually works.
All right, so let's take a little tour and see all the equipment and stuff.
Okay, sure.
We haven't even started the tour yet, and I already have a question. And I'm seeing 3 command chairs here. Are they ever full?
Well, you know, the vision someday is for there to be 3, you know, operating positions.
Ah, okay.
We
okay.
usually, we've only had up to 2. But again, you know, I think at some point we'll get to that. But you bring up an interesting point. The chair is obviously a very important part of the contest station. You know, if you talk to many contesters, you'll hear the term, you know, you got to keep your butt in the chair. And that's true for any contest. It's really true for VHF contesting, because there are those moments when you're like, oh, there's just nothing going on. I want to go catch the end of a game or something.
Yeah.
And you do that, and you're inevitably going to miss that 15-minute opening where you pick up 10 or 15 multipliers, and you don't get that chance back. So if you're gonna be serious, you're gonna be in the chair, and the chairs are actually
Better be comfortable.
they better be comfortable. They better be something that you can adjust, and every operator needs something different out of the chair, and those chairs feel very wobbly and move around a lot, and they're designed that way. They're computer gaming chairs is what they are. But you can adjust those chairs, and they make the quite as comfortable as you can. And then of course that goes to the design of the station itself. You know, having the location of the station, you know, more toward the antennas are as opposed to an extra room on the house, was designed for several reasons. One, you know, the coax runs. I didn't want to run any of my coaxes that far. You surely don't want to run VHF, UHF coaxes that far. It allows you know, the group to kind of come out here and get focused on what we're trying to do. This is it's a sport in a way, right? And so there's an element of seriousness you want to bring.
Right, exactly.
to
That's
the contest.
yeah. You definitely get that feeling
Yeah.
when you walk into the building. It's separate from the house.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And we're up on a hill
yeah, yeah,
with towers. So.
yeah, yeah. And so, so
Mhm.
the color blue was, kind of a calming
Calming,
color,
yes.
right? And so and it all kind of is just trying to design an environment where you can have a team sit for 48 hours and do a contest.
Yeah.
There are bunks upstairs where the guys can sleep. Again, the station isn't finished out, but
And we have a spiral staircase behind us that will go
Yes.
upstairs.
yes. And again, the station's being built, so it's not quite. Everything's not going to quite look how I would like it to, but it's coming along. So then the next question is, of course, your antenna layout, and we can get to that later. But then the other big question is, well, what radio do you go with, and why? Because you really want your operators to be comfortable with the radio that you're going with, especially in our situation, we're having multiple operators come in. So I've chosen to go with the Flex radio, and so I have this Flex 6400. The Maestro is able to take one of those slices from the 6400. So it doesn't quite allow us to run true single op 2 radio. And eventually my goal is to upgrade to maybe the 6600 to where this could truly function as a second radio. And that will make sense when you see the towers, because there's basically 2 towers that each station will have their own tower. So that's the HF side. For the VHF, I do use the Flex only for 6, of course. I don't have any inverters on the Flex, and that is also in the state of flux, I guess, is how that will finally work. But the amp is an Alpha 9500 for the HF. And then there's a lunar amp over here for 6 meters. So the other important piece to this station that has become more important is the computer. The computing ability for the contest in the digital modes has become very important. So really, I no longer do FT8 in the VHF contest, as they separated those categories out. But I do love to RIDI contest. So the computer is important to be able to decode all these. As technology has moved along, you have 2 or 3 decoders in the contest, and your computer has to be able to do that. So that's kind of the basic layout here. There are a few other pieces. When I built the station, of course, I had the idea of it being a community station, right? Like, I want the guys in the community, the other contesters, to use it. And I want them to use it in, maybe in contests that they want to do. That some of these guys have interest in other contests I may not have interest in. And that allows them to use the station.
Yeah.
It allows them to become more comfortable with it, so that when we do come, it's not like, okay, what do we do 6 months when we're here? And so, and to that end, there are 2 repeaters over here. There's a 2-meter repeater and a 900 megahertz repeater. And K5 TRA built the 900, and AB5EB built the 2-meter. So those spots are there for the community, and they've actually increased the 900 range from Austin down into the San Antonio area on that network.
Yeah.
So and then of course I have my station I grew up with, which is more of a nostalgia type thing, but my Drake line is over here. This is, when I was 12 years old, this is what I was using, and this, not that particular one, but this radio line. So it's fun to just get on, turn it on, have no computers on, tune up and down the band, just like when I was a kid, truly out looking for DX.
Yeah.
That's really, it gets exciting.
So can you, for those of us who don't really know what some of this equipment is, can you just kind of point out some of it and what it is and what it does?
So of course we have the amp here, and then we have, these are the rotor controls, and
Okay.
there are 3 towers in the station design. One of them isn't completely built out, but they're rotatable towers. So the whole tower rotates, and that makes the station in the smaller footprint, I guess, more potent in a way, because now I can move antennas around. Although there's definitely value in fixed, antennas. I know when I switch, I'm going to get this angle. I have some of those as well, but that's what these do. This is the VHF Roam 25, and this is the Roam 45. The Roam 45 is a 170-foot tower. They both use prop pitch rotors, which, if you don't know, are basically the engines that change the pitch of World War II Korean airplanes, and they've converted them to be rotors. So a tremendous amount of torque that they can turn.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So, and then this is my VHF antenna switch. So just the 6-meter antennas are on that. So currently I have 4 different 6-meter antennas to pick from. 2 of them are stack 7s, 2 are 3-element stacks, and then the 5-element stack and the 7-element mono. And so those are offset to different markets on the tower, and then when you turn it, you gotta be like, well, where is it all at? And that's just kind of learning how the station works. And there are 4 HF tri-banders that are phased. Those are JK mid tri-banders, and this allows me to select all 4 or 1 or 2. And again, it makes your antennas an instrument or a tool. You have to learn that, having 4 antennas oftentimes is never the best choice. It's trying to find that right angle, and if I don't need the lower angle, then turn that off, because all it's receiving is static. And so you learn that it's a tool to be used, and you just have to use it a lot to understand it and when to use it. So, and then there is a 660-foot beverage that runs along the back of the shack, which is for 160 and 80-meter reception antenna, and it's aimed towards Europe. It's reversible, so I can listen basically to ZL or Europe. One of the highlights for me was working ZL7 on 160, and the only way I could hear him was by using, the beverage antenna. So again, it's just having a contest station is about hearing and being heard, and a lot of stations can be heard, but but you got to really work on the hearing side. Like, can I hear really everyone that's calling me? And so, and this is the AB5EB, the tri-banders. 40-meter antenna system is 2-element JK beams that are phased. And we went with the smaller antennas because of the environment here. We get high winds, as you guys know, here, and lightning and all those other things. So sticking with a shorter boom length is a better way to preserve your antennas than, having a bigger 3-element, even 4-element 40-meter antenna. So there's some compromise and all that, but longevity is also important as well. So, then of course you have your watt meter, and then of course if you're not familiar with the flex, basically I ran everything from the flex from up here on the screen. And then there is an Icon 910 over here, which is my 2-meter 440 rig. And so currently on HF, I only have the 6.2 and the 440. I do want to venture into some of the other frequencies down the road. So that's pretty much the equipment layout here.
Nice.
I just, are you involved any with Aries or races?
I'm not, no. Yeah, I haven't been involved with those organizations.
I can introduce you to your district.
I know some of the guys out there.
That would be me.
Oh, okay.
I'm the district emergency coordinator for Aries and the district radio
Yeah.
officer for for races
Yeah. Well,
for this area.
now I know that one of those groups do some of the events.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Mhm.
And I know that this repeater they've used, you know, for some of the events on the river and stuff because
Right, right.
the New Braunfels repeater can't get all the way up here and this,
Yeah.
you know, can get.
Now, the REACT group in this area does more of the.
I think it's React. That's
Yeah,
what I think.
does more of the coordinating that, but all the REACT guys are my guys too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, I've reached out to the county level about,
Mhm.
you know, how what is the utility of this station in an emergency, you know, because
It would be very useful.
yeah, because we know where the emergencies happen in this county, and they're usually along that river, right? And so, or on the lake.
Mhm.
So it is that resource, and I want it to be used for that, you know.
Okay.
And so, again, I built this. Clearly, is more than I need, and I want to share it. And so, yeah, you know, if there's value, guys can use it for the true purpose of hand, which is right, providing that emergent communication and service. And it's clearly, and you know, can be used for that.
Yeah. So do we want to take a quick tour of upstairs?
Yes.
You need a pole to get downstairs.
Yeah.
Put another
So, I
hole in
mean,
the floor.
Yeah, I mean, this has kind of been, you know, where I guess every true ham shack needs a place you just put stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And so, and these are the beds aren't made, but we're not
Yeah.
near a contest,
Yeah.
but, you know, this is where the guys catch a few hours of sleep sometimes. And, yeah. Just an assortment of, there's actually a lot of cool UHF, VHF stuff over here that I'm hoping to implement. So.
All right, good
That's
job.
it. This actually has I think the bottom is 980.
980, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is up here on a hill
Yeah.
compared to the house there.
And what is this one again here?
So this is the VHF tower.
Okay.
On the very top is a 440, and then there's a 2 meter, and then below that are the 2 7-element
Okay.
stacks. And then there's 2 5-element stacks below that. And then below here you see the single 7-element. And then down here below, if you see those 2 3s, so they are, I need to adjust those. They're currently at 270 degrees, but I need to bring them probably around 290, and they're just for my California path, because we haven't had that path on 6 meters in a few years, but it's coming back, and that is a pipeline. And so I want to be able to just flip to that and know, because there's loads of guys there, and so it's a market that you know, at the flip of the switch I can be.
So which are the towers that rotate?
So this one rotates. So this is run 45, and you see the rotator up there.
Oh, okay.
And then it tapers to 25.
Okay.
And those are,
wow.
yeah, so those are run 25 rings, which are really almost impossible to find anymore.
Yeah.
I got those from Dick K5A&D bought them years ago. They were one of the things I bought, and they just sit in the garage for years. And now,
That's what you have them for. That's why you store them.
yeah, yeah. But that's the VHF tower. The tower in the back will be another rotatable 170 foot.
Who gets up there?
Hector, XC2K, yeah, so he put all these towers up. He's very helpful in building stations for sure.
You think these are big? Look behind us.
Yeah, so this is the North Run 45, and you can see the 4 tri-banders that they're all phased. And then the second antenna up is the LFA 10-element,
Okay.
6 meter beam. And then the tri-bander, and then the first of the two 2-element 40 meter beams. So the very top one 80-meter dipole. That one that's just long, that's a dipole. And then you also have the 2-meter and the 900 megahertz repeater antennas. And there's some wires coming off here, 160 and 80-meter half-wave dipoles.
Yep.
And so one of the things that, you know, if you're a contester and a DXer, they tug at each other, the needs, you know, and really this is built more by a DXer than a contester. So I've learned over the years that, you know, that for example, on 40 meters, I have a hard time talking to Oklahoma because only thing I have on 40 is two-phased, 2 elements, and their angle of takeoff is so low that I just shoot right over them. So we're working on putting in some wire antennas up for 40 meters and 80 meters that help us correct some of those issues. But that's part of the fun of the station is, you know, and that antenna wasn't even my idea, you know, so it's fun to have a team approach to it and, you know, have other guys excited about seeing the station be built. So
That's incredible. Oh my goodness.
you see an old World War II aircraft, you'll see that cone that sticks out in front of the propeller, and that's a cover, and underneath that are these things. They were used to change the pitch of the prop, and so they have a tremendous amount of torque, and they've been converted to be a very reliable rotor. So I think this is not the biggest one they have. I think it's just their large. They have a bigger one.
This has got to be a big one though. But I can imagine they are. They do make them bigger. But my goodness.
And it turns the tower with no problem. And then the other tower has a prop pitch that you can tell is smaller. It's not quite as big as that one, but does a great job. So yeah, that's a setup here, and the hard line, the big hard line is for the 900 megahertz. It goes all the way up. The line loss at that frequency is pretty high, so but that's how we aim it.
That's amazing. Well, thank you very much for having us out.
Well,
That was absolutely incredible. This building out here and all of these towers. I really appreciate you having us out.
Well, I'm glad you guys came out. I appreciate you guys taking the interest, and you know, so it's fun to show off your station. So
right?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay, that was exciting.
That was simply phenomenal, Melissa. Simply phenomenal.
I will tell you, for once, I can actually comment on a segment before because I was there. and Melissa did a great job. Mike was great host, guest. It was really good, and I think everybody will really enjoy the tour.
Oh,
Okay.
Sam's got something special for us.
I do. I am finally going to get to have a little fun. It's been a little stressful here getting ready for all of the actual special events like Aquapalooza 2022. So let's hop right into my segment on the special event operations.
Well, hello everybody. Once again, KE0LMY here. I am trying out my different video and audio equipment just to see if this works out a little better. I already think that the picture's going to be better. I'm not sure about the volume and the sound, but we'll work on it. We're still working on it. So I left you last month with some information on locations for special events, whether you wanted to interact with the public or not, and which radio and equipment I use. But again, just to reiterate, You can use whatever equipment that you like or you want or you can afford, because trust me, I know that feeling. So this month, look, I have notes. This month, I want to go for some fun ideas to spice up your special event, because this is my favorite part of doing special events for ham radio. And then actual operations challenges, because believe it or not, yeah, there's a lot of challenges. I do want to say some of the highs, some of the lows, some of the things in between. So let's start a little bit with the fun ideas to spice up your special event. I love to do things where you're not just getting a card, a QSL card, or a certificate. I like to do a little something special. So when we did our very first special event, when we activated Truman Dam, I ended up choosing to add a little something special on each of the certificates for the person who was 50th, the person who was 100th, and so on. So they each, without telling them, they got a special little stamp on their certificates for being that special numbered person. I love doing that. Mainly because I like to see cool stuff like that when I take part in special events. The other thing that we did is, because it was our very first special event, those people who had the 50th and 100th, we went ahead and instead of just giving them a paper or a PDF file of their certificate, we had it printed as a photo. So it was photo grade paper and it had that special stamp, and it was just a little something to go above and beyond what you would normally get, or, you know, just a little something special. The other thing we like to do is have things printed out. For our Santa Claus, for our Christmas special event one year, we had a poster printed out that had a dam, and it had Santa Claus and a beaver. My husband came up with this whole idea, so I made it happen for him. So he came up with the idea, we got together, had it printed as a poster, and we handed those posters out to specific people who took part in the activity. The other thing that we do is we like to have things made like, I don't know, wristbands, pencils, little giveaway items that they don't cost a lot to make. And yes, all this stuff comes out of our pocket. I like to spend my money on fun stuff like that. So we come up with these cool ideas of things that we can give away, just items or just stickers, something that's super special. And it gives people a chance to really have something meaningful or a souvenir for something that they did. So those are just a few of the fun things that I like to do for special events. And it exercises my creativity and it lets me do fun stuff. Because as you can tell by my buddy up here, I have Barky, I have Buzzer the Bee with the Camden County Emergency Management Agency. I have my little Felipe the Bear over here. He's over there over my other shoulder. I like to do fun things. It's something to break up the monotony and the sad times and the bad times that we're all going through right now. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was the actual operational challenges. Now, I have been fortunate or unfortunate enough on field days to operate in some pretty rough conditions. So I'll reference that, even though those aren't really special events. To me, the operations is still the same. It's still the same feeling. Unfortunately or fortunately, the best part of special events and the best time of year to do them, as I've said before, is during the summertime, because that's when people are out and they'll interact with you. I'm very much a public information officer, so I'm so used to dealing with the public that I like my stuff to interact with the public. But there are some downsides when you're sitting either in an extremely hot MCOM trailer and then you come out and you're covered and drenched in sweat and you're trying to shake hands and talk to people. It's a little awkward. So that was one really uncomfortable situation. I don't think that they quite held their noses, but I felt like the feeling was there. Some of the other actual operational challenges is we would have, if we did throw a wire up in a tree, of course it can get blown down or come down. You have to be very careful when you're doing it like that. We do have actual tripods and things like the equipment that we can use, but you do have the problem that you have to be careful around the public. Make sure that you're doing all of the safety things that you need to do. If you have wires on the ground, make sure those little orange flags are up, or make sure there's something that will let them know that there's a trip hazard and they need to be careful. So some actual operational challenges have been looking out for the safety of people, making sure they're not getting too near generators that we're running, things like that. Running out of gas for the generator. Now, I'm sure none of you have had that problem before, but yeah, you kind of want to keep an eye on it. Otherwise, you're right in the middle of a contact and all of a sudden everything goes dead. It happens. Backup power is great, but when your backup power is the thing that ran out of gas and you're charging your batteries, boy, that can cause just a multitude of problems. What else? We've had some really good times. We had beautiful weather for, I would say, every single special event that the Damn Amateur Radio Club has done. We have had beautiful weather. So there's always a possibility that rainstorms, pop-up thunderstorms in the summertime are horrible. Make sure your equipment is grounded. There's probably a million stories for not grounding your equipment properly, but all in all, I just get so much enjoyment out of talking to people. Some people complain about pileups. I love them. I love talking to people. I love plowing through a pileup and working everybody and giving them all a chance to talk to a special event station. And for those times when there aren't pileups, tell them a little bit about why you're doing the special event and the area that you're in. I think that overall, if you are already this far into a thought process of a special event, you're already going to be in for a penny, in for a pound. So have fun with it. That is the thing that I think we forget about, is to find the enjoyment in what we do. Sometimes it gets to the point where it almost feels like a job, especially if it's an annual special event that you're doing. But overall, if you have the chance, I will try and reach out to you. Let me know if you're doing a special event. I will put out on the Damn Amateur Radio Club site when our group is doing a special event. And who knows, maybe we'll get to have a nice contact with each other. So I'll say 73 to you guys, and I'll have a new topic next month.
Oh, I am sure that was phenomenal. And I'll let you know when I see it, because I'm going to get to see it about 40 times as I edit it.
Well, I'm hoping you won't have to edit it a whole lot. I try and keep my segments short, sweet, and tight.
Actually, I'll be honest. Most of the time, I never have to touch yours or Andrea's. Mine, however, for some reason, require a lot of editing.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah. Probably because I can't seem to stay on topic, right?
So speaking of Greg's segment,
oh yeah. All right, today we're going to discuss grounding. So let's slide into my segment. Due to time constraints and the desire to not shorten my segment, we're going to move this segment to next month. Well, Andrea, tell us about the segment you're not having.
Segment I'm not having. Nothing's happening in it.
Okay. Well, we appreciate it. That was a great segment. It was straight to the point. It didn't dance around. I mean, I was amazed. I sat here in awe.
Personally, I think that we should just have a picture of Melissa holding up the fake hand.
Yeah, we were ready in case you couldn't make it.
We were, and then I came up with the idea that there needs to be a face of all of us in case one of us does miss.
And the drawback to that is if I miss, you guys got a problem.
No,
I can get on separate. I can get on separate with my phone, and then we'll have that fourth that fourth square.
Okay.
We'll just have one for Greg for when he is here.
Wow.
We love you, Greg.
With that, I think it's time to say goodnight.
So we'd like to say thank you once again to our sponsors at the Hamsters Week Signal Group. We're super excited to see what Greg does manage to pull off with his little special project and see if he really can contact New England. Whew, that would be a stretch, I think. But thank you so much for joining us this month. If you have any questions, comments, or if you want to get your shack on the special segment by Melissa, or if you are close enough for her to visit you, hey, send that information in. Greg will put the email below that you can send your pictures to or your requests to. And hey, the more that we interact with you, the more entertaining the show is. So thank you so much. 73 for me. Melissa?
73.
Andrea?
73 Kilo 2 Echo Zulu.
All right.
And Greg.
73s, everybody. We'll see you next month. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. That
Oh, don't start. I actually do
I like. Now I liked your spin.
Oh, you like sunglasses? You guys
And your
are on the
ponytail waving around.
you're on the move with me. Here we go. You know, the superstar of the show. So we don't have a newsletter for the club, but I actually put together a magazine. It's a digital magazine. There's 2 issues already up on the website. And oh, by the way, this is the best out at my EMA. One of these days, I'll give you guys a tour because that'll be a lot of fun. But I think it's 2018 and 2019 or 2018 and 2020 episodes or magazines are up on the website right now. And I am trying to carve out some time to get the 2022. So it's become like an every other year thing at this point.
So I was wondering, do you have a name for it? Because I have the perfect name if you don't already use it.
Oh, we don't. We just go by Dark Magazine. What do you got?
I would call it Damnation.
I love it. I'm going to pass it by Roger. I love it. He'll love it, I think. So Greg likes my sunglasses, huh? Greg had to record the sunglasses.
Yeah.
Oh, I liked when you were walking through the building, your ponytail's whipping back and forth and dark glasses. You just look.
There you go. How's that? That hat in my truck. That's the hat that I wear out on scene. So, you know.
Wait.
You do know all this is going to be on the show, right?
Of course, because we've got to catch Sam on the move. That's right.
That's right.
So I had to ask Sam, is that your new office that you're in there?
That is my office. Yeah. And then you guys saw a little glimpse of the bays while I was setting all the alarms on the bays. I do need to actually do a walkthrough for everybody. That way they can see kind of how amateur radio fits in with emergency management and how we handle it out here. I think there is one thing. Hang on. Let me see if I can get the tower in the background. Let me see if I can do this right. There we go. Can you guys see?
Yeah.
Can you see the tower?
Yeah. Yeah. Neat.
Yeah, we take it seriously out here. I don't just come on this show and tell you guys I do this just for fun. We do it because it's serious business out here.
Sweet.
So there you go.
Right.
All right, ladies, you all have a real good evening. Sam, have a safe drive home. Andrea, be safe coming back to Texas.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.